Want to welcome you to this, our first concert of the 2023-24 season. I want to begin by giving a huge thank you to First Baptist Church and the staff here in Wimberley for letting us hold our concerts here, and we rehearse here every week. So thank you very much. I would also like to thank our band board and the several members of the band who design our posters and programs and advertise all our concerts. Would y'all please stand if you are part of this awesome group? And also we need to give a big thank you to our folks who do the magic of recording and live streaming our concerts, Jesse, Mark, and Nathan. This is the 34th year our band has been furnishing free concerts to our area of the Hill Country. Our members are all volunteers and enjoy making music together. We have members of all ages and abilities, and we range in age from some in their 20s and up. Band members come from our area of the Hill Country, Austin to New Braunfels, Blanco to San Marcos. And if you have played a band's instrument in high school or college, please contact us. We would love to have you join us. All of our efforts to furnish free concerts to the area are made possible by donations from organizations in the community, such as the Wimberley Lions Club and Wimberley Civic Club, and from people like you who appreciate our music. Your donations enable us to buy music and equipment. Just like everything else today, they're getting more and more expensive. On the back of your program, there is a form you can fill out and mail in a contribution. In addition, we accept PayPal and credit card donations on our website, and there is a QR code in the program. Of course, cash is always welcome, and there are baskets in the back should you wish to contribute in that member. We are a 501c3 organization, which means your contributions are tax deductible. Thank you very much, and other members of the community, for supporting us. Our next concert will be here on Saturday, November the 18th at 2 p.m. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Manuel Arambla and the Hill Country Community Band. We open our concerts with the national anthem, so please stand if you are able.
welcome to our concert, our first concert of this 34th season. I would like to welcome you all. And I always think of ideas of programs and what to do, and I don't have many hobbies. And so music is, what I think about all the time. And so I think about, okay, what's a good programming idea for this and that concert? So growing up and even throughout my education, there was always this dichotomy of training and, conductors and the old versus the new, and I always felt that towards the last 20 or so years, there has been an explosion in concert band music, and that's a good thing, by the way. I'll go back to it. And symphonic music as we know it, pretty much was held for the symphony orchestra, strings and things like that, pretty much until about the 1900. And about the 1900, you start to have a few composers that are starting to write for the concert band music. Now, up till then, most of the music written for the concert band or the wind ensemble at that time was mostly rearrangements and, transpositions of orchestral music. There was really no serious music written for the concert band. It wasn't around 1909 when you start to see Gustav Holst perform the first Suite in E flat, which we performed a year ago in this concert as well, and his second Suite in F, which he composed in 1911. At that time, of course, Gustav Holst was considered a very important composer, and composers began to think, okay, maybe the symphonic band medium is actually a good vehicle to write serious music for, instead of just having to rehash old orchestral music and put it together. So I've always been a believer, even, like as I said, when I was in training, I had a lot of the peers who love new music, and they wanted to play all the newest music that's coming out recently, but I was always the dark horse that, no, let's stick to tradition, let's stick to our heritage, because I've always felt that a lot of the band music that we grew up with is not played as often anymore. So I said, we're going to do a concert of just band gems. We're going to do a concert of just band classics, just band classics. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get started with The Symphonians by Clifton Williams. This piece was composed in 1960, and it's around that turn, 1950, with Frederick Fennell and the Eastman Wind Ensemble, when he commissioned a lot of music, a lot of very serious music to be written for the concert band medium. And it's called The Symphonians because it was actually commissioned by Phi Mu Alpha Symphonia Fraternity, and that is the world's largest music fraternity. And so they commissioned it, performed it in 1960, and today is considered Clifton Williams' most popular work. Thank you. Okay, so our next piece, and forgive me if I mispronounce it, is Allerseelen. It's All Souls Day. It translates from German. It was written by Richard Strauss. He wrote it at the age of 21. Now, Richard Strauss is known as what we called a post-romantic composer. So he was written after that time, the death of Wagner, which, by the way, he was very influential. And so Wagner influenced a whole school of composition thereafter. So any composers, if you were to look at a tree of music, and there's that big Wagner branch right there, you have Mahler, and you have Richard Strauss, and you have many other composers, including the ones that write for film music. And so you're going to, if you're familiar with Wagner's harmonic language, which includes a lot of chromaticism, a lot of shifting keys, a lot of color, this is the same kind of style that you're going to hear in this composition. Now, Allerseelen is also known as what we called Lied or Lieder in plural, which it stands for art song. It was very common at the turn of last century for many composers, and expected as well, for many composers to write what are called Lieder, art songs. Basically, poems, texts. They were taken and they were set to music. This specific one, usually it was orchestral and piano. This specific one was written for piano. Now, this is a band classic because it was also one of those compositions that was commissioned by Mr. Frederick Fennell also at the turn of the 1950s and 1960s. And it is phenomenally arranged for the concert band medium. And so Allerseelen All Souls Day, it's a poem that states about somebody who obviously has lost someone. And during that All Souls Day, November 2nd, they miss this specific person. And that's what this song is telling. Thank you. So a band concert couldn't be called a classic band concert without a Sousa march in it. Of course, Philip Sousa is probably one of the most important bandmasters, perhaps the most important bandmasters in history. With the creation of his Sousa band, by the way, there were other bands around that time too. It was not just the Sousa band, but of course his was the most popular. Went on to European tours as well, and in fact, at that time, not that I don't think it's truth today, but at that time, the symphonic band, such as the Sousa band, were called the Poor Man's Symphonic Orchestra. Maybe not a very good title, but at that time, there were not many symphony orchestras, and there were a few like the Boston Symphony, New York Philharmonic, Philadelphia, and so it was not very feasible for a lot of people to attend these concerts. So Sousa would go around the country and he would take his band on tour, and he would not only also arrange orchestral music in his programs, but he would also perform some of his music. Now, Philip Sousa is one of the most prolific American composers. Erroneously, he is known for being just a march composer, but that's actually not true. This march, actually, the Freelance, comes from one of his operettas, which is known as the Freelance. And so we'll move on with the program. Here's the Freelance March. Thank you. Our next composition is a piece in 4 movements. As I mentioned earlier, Gustav Holst wrote two suites for the military band. Eventually, it was arranged for modern concert band instrumentation. But this one is the second suite in F for military band. It was composed in 1911, but it was not first performed and published until 12 years later in 1922. And also at the turn of the century, a lot of the original concert wind band music, such as Gustav Holst and Percy Grainger, which our next piece deals with, was made up of folk music. So folk music was the inspiration for a lot of the, not just wind band music, but a lot of music at that time. So 7 traditional tunes are compressed into 4 movements of this suite. We have the march, which includes the Morris dance, the Swansea Tea, and Cloudy Banks. Our second movement is Song Without Words, or also known as I'll Love My Love. The third one is Song of the Blacksmith, and it features the folk song, A Blacksmith Courted Me. And the last one is the Fantasia and the Dargeson. Includes 2 folk tunes from the Arthur Playfort's Dancing Master, which are the Dargeson and Greensleeves, which you know as a Christmas carol. Now, the last movement of this is actually quite very ingeniously written. You're going to hear in the last movement what's known as a hemiola, which is a meter of 2 times against a meter of 3. So you're going to hear the woodwinds going on a meter of 2, and you're going to hear the brass going on a meter of 3. I'm sorry, on a meter of 2 for the winds and a meter of 3 for the brass. You're going to hear the gleanses. So make sure you're listening for that. All right? Thank you. Our next piece is one of the most moving pieces in the band repertoire. And although it's known as Danny Boy, the title of this piece is the Irish tune from County Derry by Percy Aldrich Granger, who he actually dedicated to the memory of composer Edvard Grieg. Now, Londonderry Air has been called the Irish national anthem and has been adopted as a favorite tune by millions across the world. The title of the air, again, another folk tune, came from the name of County Londonderry. It has served as a theme song for entertainers like Danny Thomas and appears in soundtracks and televisions and in motion pictures. And I'm sure you'll recognize it. we are going to conclude with On the Mall Concert March, written by Edwin Franco Goldman. On the Mall refers to the mall in Central Park, New York City. By the way, Franco Goldman was another one who had one of his own bands tour the country. So the march it refers to the mall in Central Park where Goldman's band frequently performed. The march was premiered in 1923, 100 years from now, well, 100 years ago, in Central Park at the Naumburg Band Show to honor Elke Naumburg. So in a technique identified with Goldman, the trio, or the middle section, is predominantly sung by the band members and then repeated with whistling. So yes, if you're familiar with marches, we play the trio 3 times. The first time, the band is going to sing, and then the second time, they're going to whistle, and then the third time, you're all going to join us. Yes, you are going to join us. All right, thank you.